I mean, look at that. That's ridiculous. That is exciting. Whew. That's what it's all about. This should be illegal. It's so much fun. Woo. This week on The Zone, we're headed west for whitetails.
I'll be hunting my home state of Montana, and Tim, I know you spent some time in Sheridan, Wyoming.
Yeah, I've been hunting down with Brion Montana and Big Buck Outfitters for years, and there's one thing I can always count on. We're gonna see lots of bucks every day. I've been coming out and hunting Wyoming with Brion Montana and Big Buck Outfitters for 8–10 years. It's just gotten to be one of those places you go back over and over and know you're gonna have a good time, know you're gonna be in a lot of animals. And I love just the backdrop. You got the Bighorn Mountains there. Beautiful, beautiful place to hunt.
We've been at this lodge for about 10 years and we can accommodate about a dozen hunters comfortably. It's worked out really well for us. We're at the end of the road here and we hunt a couple dozen ranches. I guess it's just a perfect storm of conditions, you know, lots of private land, and the deer just do really well in this habitat, in this climate.
You know, when I hit the ground in Sheridan, it was looking like mid-60s to even 70 degrees. So between the full moon that was out, my hunt shaped up to be a challenge. Northern Wyoming, and it's pretty open. And the shots are gonna average 150 to 300 yards. One thing that I've found that really helps is I brought the Bog Gear XSR, and it holds my gun up, which is nice. But out of a ground blind, you got time, you get set up, and that thing is like bringing a bench rest in here with you. And I can come up here and just put my shoulder on this, and it's just rock steady. Early in the hunt, we went during the afternoon to hunt on an alfalfa field to a pretty ingenious little blind the guys had made. It was just a big culvert, and they'd brushed it in really well, and it looked like a roll bale sitting right out in the wide open. And right off the bat, I could glass into those trees and I could see deer at a distance. Eventually they got up, started moving around a little bit, and there were a whole bunch of bucks, but there was couple that stood out. Not quite what I'm going to shoot on the first day, but he got out here about 70 yards and our wind's blowing crossway. Deer coming 360, so at some point something's going to smell us. They all bunched up over here about 60, 70 yards and then went back to the cover. Beautiful deer, probably a 3-year-old. I can see deer that way, and this way right now. And that's what this area is so much fun to hunt. You're going to see 20 to 50 bucks a scent. You're gonna see some pretty nice bucks. You just gotta wade through them and wait it out and find a good buck. A lot of really pretty 8-pointers, 9-pointers. This alfalfa valley down here is gonna have 300 deer in it minimum tonight, so it's a lot of fun to hunt like this. It was early in the hunt. I felt like he needed one more year to grow up and really be a good deer. But he came in there and we could have taken him with a bow out of that ground blind. And that's always exciting to have a beautiful buck in front of you at 12, 13 yards. He stayed for quite a while. So it made the night go really, really fast and really enjoyable. But again, you're seeing lots of deer and you're seeing good bucks, and that's fun deer.
The Zone is brought to you by Brownell, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools. Thompson Center, Nikon, Blackhorn 209, DLC Covert Trail Cameras, Under Armour, Lethal Human Scent Elimination, and Bill Jordan's Realtree. Family, friends, and the outdoors. This portion of The Zone is brought to you by Gobble and Grunt Outfitters.
I was on a 5-day hunt, and the first 4 days were just really warm and too comfortable. And that last day, it changed drastically, a 180, and the temperature dropped through the day, the wind picked up. Maybe this is what it's going to take to get some of those bigger bucks on their feet in daylight. And the pressure was mounting too. I mean, it was 1 o'clock on the 5th day of a 5-day hunt, and we had till about 5 p.m. to hunt. But I really didn't want to just shoot a deer just to shoot a deer. We were looking for something mature. It just so happened about an hour and a half before dark, sitting on a hill glassing. Looked, it was immediately evident that he was an old buck. He was just big, thick in the chest, no question, completely mature deer. And we knew we had to work down in, and our biggest obstacle was running out of cover, and then that there were does over on the hillside. We used what cover there was, slipped around, the wind was perfect in our face, and we finally got down to where we were gonna have to walk in the wide open, and we just felt like we were stuck. I'm not the world's best long shot guy. I used all the tools that I could find to help me. I got a good rifle to start with, put a 4x16 Monarch scope with a BDC reticle in it so I could really zoom in at long distance. But then I went in and utilized Nikon's Spot On program on the internet. It computes for you, it tells you what each circle equals out in yardage, and then once you take your rangefinder and you know your target distance, then you have got something to put on that deer and know where your bullet should hit. He's right about 300. I'm going to use it for a circle. You ready? Whew. Dead center right in the front. I got to give some credit though. I had my BDC and I'd used the Spot On, and I had it zeroed at 225, and my first circle was 308. Used it, and that shows, because I'm definitely not the world's best shot, and I don't shoot long a lot, but that takes a lot of guesswork out. I'm always nervous taking a shot that's 300 yards, especially in field conditions. When that venture went off and he collapsed on the spot, you talk about relief coming over somebody. Hunting out here with the guys that big buck, you will get to look at a lot of big bucks and just choose through them. I mean, it's just a fun hunt when you can come out and see. I mean, 300 deer a day is not a big deal at all, is it?
No, not especially when the weather's right.
Yeah. And we're here in the end of October, and this is probably one of the worst times to try to hunt.
We get full moon, hot weather, windy weather.
Way before the rut. I mean, we're 2 weeks before the rut. You know.
Tim, you really had to deal with some heat on this hunt.
Yeah, but as often happens with whitetails, as soon as the cold weather broke, everything came together. And I know when you were in Montana, you didn't have to deal with any hot weather.
No, we couldn't find any heat. Even driving to our spot in the truck, we could barely stay warm. I mean, it was cold. But when you get weather like that, and then combine it with that late season rattling, I mean, you have everything potentially coming together to have just a magical hunt.
Yeah, and a lot of guys don't realize that early November, immediate pre-rut is not the only time that rattling works. After the peak of the rut, those bucks have got the same mindset, and you can rattle those big boys in then too.
Big mature bucks out looking for does. Just like in the pre-rut, the post-rut, they've also had that opportunity to breed, and those big bucks have established their dominance. So when you start rattling those horns together, probably going to get the big one coming in.
Well, I know you guys got a great piece of footage that illustrates this. Let's go take a look at it.
This gut's moving in the trees.
Okay, we are on the way to a super exciting hunt. Anticipation is high on this one, guys. Mike Zmek, Blue Rock Outfitters near Broadus, Montana. It's November 21st. It's 8 degrees out, and I can't wait for tomorrow morning. We are gonna see some deer. Get ready. You know, as an outfitter for 20 years and being around guides and other outfitters, it's really fun to meet young guys who are up-and-comers in the outfitting industry, and you can really tell when you meet them the guys that really have a promising career. And when I met Mike Zmek of Blue Rock Outfitters, I could tell instantly I had one of those guys.
You know, I'm a hunter at heart. I love to hunt, and you know, there's so many deer and so few tags, so my love for guiding, it comes from just the love of hunting. I get to go out there and I get to be right alongside you guys hunting, and that just makes it all the more worthwhile for me.
When we got up that first morning, we woke up to a fresh blanket of powder, and Mike said, you know what, we're gonna go up in some high country, get up in the pines, we're gonna find where these deer are bedded, we're gonna work in close, and we're gonna see if we can rattle in some bucks. Just the kind of weather you want to rattle up big bucks in the snow. For a while I thought I was on an elk hunt. We were hiking up through snow ghosts and 6 inches of snow. But boy, when we set up at that first setup, everything changed. And all of a sudden, I could just envision whitetails just appearing through that setting. No better way to hunt whitetails when it's below zero than out moving. We just went from setup to setup, and we would rattle in these neat little pockets of open space in the pines.
In our face. Never quite seen anything like that before. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a firefly. Yep.
I live by a rule. When I go hunt whitetails at somebody else's home turf, I step back and I just watch the show. Because if there's one thing I've learned about whitetails, these are the most adaptive creatures in North America. And if you hunt whitetails in Wisconsin the same way you hunt them in Nebraska, or the same way you hunt them in Montana, you're not going to be successful. You need to hunt whitetails different, as if they're a totally different animal everywhere you go. Yeah. Fairly young yet, huh?
Yep,
Good looking deer though.
he's our future.
We're not gonna go shoot him now?
Nope.
Because I just got here, or because we can do better? Because we can
Both.
do better. I like the way you think.
Yeah,
Pretty deer.
he likes some does.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
If you know where there's a bigger one, I say we go find one.
We'll go get him.
Okay. You know, rattling is an art, it's not a science. And I would just follow in Mike's lead, and we'd go from one place to another. Maybe we wouldn't get any action, but we would walk around and see fresh sign. And some of that sign we know had happened as a result of our rattling.
It's up right here.
You just never know. You just got to keep going from spot to spot and keep trying different things. And you got to think, and Mike knows how to think. He knew that it was a really cold morning. the deer would be bedded, and we need to get in tight the bedding areas, and that's how we'd be successful.
Montana's a great state to hunt the rut. It's one of the few states out west you get to hunt mule deer in the rut, plus the whitetails too. It's absolutely phenomenal. You're gonna see a lot of deer. Our whitetails are really concentrated, so you have a high number of animals in a small area, and that is what really gets them bucks fired up.
Right, this gut's moving in the trees.
This portion of the zone is brought to you by the Magnum Hunt Club.
Shockwave 250, I love it. Very accurate. Right in front of this gut's moving in the trees. When he's doves. How about that?
I think you got him, man.
This is like hunting ghosts in the powder. Wow. First buck to come in this morning. Guard setup.
Yeah.
Did you see the eye guards on that thing? That's what sold
Broad
me.
tines. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks. Good rattling.
Yeah, awesome.
Good rattling. You knew right where to stop. Wow. Well, it's cold here, but the action's hot.
Yeah.
That's what we like.
It's really cold.
Oh, what a beautiful deer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I tell you what, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this kind of a hunt without Blackhorn doing it. It's revolutionized this muzzleloading thing. You can haul this around, and I've been on so many muzzleload hunts back in the day when you bust your tail to get an opportunity like that once a season, and you get top. People that used to muzzleload and they don't anymore need to reconsider. You know, they need to grab this new technology and go with it.
I totally agree.
Let's go see what we got.
Man, nice shooting. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that is a pretty good sign. Sliding down there like a sled, huh?
Yep.
Oh, there he is. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at the brow tines on that buck.
Oh, yeah.
Look at him. What a beauty.
Nice.
And he's done.
He's done. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
Good job. Great work on that buck. Rattled him in. Oh, get your hands on that Montana whitetail.
Yep.
I mean, that eye guard there is almost 10 inches.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Good mass. He's bladed up on the G2
Yeah,
there.
pretty. Got a little kicker trying to start there.
Yep.
That's awesome. What a deer. What a great buck to shoot with any weapon, especially a
heck yeah.
muzzleloader, huh?
Yep.
And rattle him in.
Rattle him in like that.
Can't beat that.
No, it really gets your adrenaline pumping.
Oh,
when you can get the animal to come to you and say, you going to it, whew.
Nice deer. Look at that. Good butt width. He just got everything, and he's got everything pretty.
Yep.
You know? I'm very happy. Big mature whitetail, absolute trophy. He'll look great on the wall, and I'll never forget this hunt.
James, that is absolutely one of my all-time favorite pieces of footage. That snow blowing off that buck's back and those incredible brow tines.
Well, those brow tines really are what sold me on that buck. But can you believe that Mike rattled that thing in right out of its bed?
That's just a testament to that late season rattling.
It sure is, Tim. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. And be sure to tune in next week as Tim and I put you in the zone.
The Zone is brought to you by Firefly, Hunt the Wind, Gobble and Grunt Outfitters, Brownells, OutfittersRating.com, Rax Mineral, and the Magnum Hunt Club. Your adventure is our business.